Hello, everybody. This is Noah Rosenblatt with Urban Digs, and I'm here with your Week 5 Coronavirus Manhattan Market Update. First off, I want to wish everyone a very happy holidays, and I'm really wishing that everyone is staying safe out there. And we're in Week 5 of this thing, so hopefully we're getting closer to the end point of this. I've been doing this since March 13th now, even though the no showings order was a week later on March 20th. This is now the 5th week of doing this. So let me give you a quick update about where we are, especially since we've started this whole corona crisis thing and where we are today. Starting with supply, we're at 5334. I've been talking how supply is declining at a faster pace than demand right now. And that is pretty much because a lot of listings are coming off the market. Sellers are choosing not to sell for whatever reason. That typically happens when sellers think they're not going to get their bid. They typically take listings off the market and then they'll put it back on when they're more confident in the market. So that's one of those types of trends that tends to rise when sellers get a little nervous about the ability of getting their offer that they will accept. The second reason is we typically get a bunch of listings coming on the market in March and April. March usually sees 1,800. April usually sees around 2,000. And last month in March, we had 924. And this month in April, we're probably going to get way less than half. So there's a lot less stuff coming on the market as well. Okay. This number back on March 13th, when I first started these, was at 6582. So we're down significantly since that time. 3 weeks ago, this was at 6282. 2 weeks ago, this was at 5882. Last week, this was at 5604, and now it's at 5334. So you can see that we are steadily declining, and I would expect that trend to continue as we finish the month of April. Moving to pending sales, when I first started doing this, this was at 2650. Okay. 3 weeks ago, it was at 2644. 2 weeks ago, it was at 2569. And last week when we did this check, it was at 2549. So today it's at 2523. It's only down 2.5% from the last month. It's only down 2.5% from the last year. This is not bad. We are having some deals signed, and I'll get to that in a second. They're much lower than this type of year. So I do expect that we are going to have downward pressure on pending sales as we go forward through this. Obviously, that's pretty clear. But considering a lot of people are saying that this pending sales number has not fallen as much as they expect. And that's true. Seasonality wise, that number should be rising. Just like supply, that number should be rising. We should be at 7,000 right now, maybe even higher than 7,000. This number should probably be somewhere closer to 3,000 right now. And the reason is that we're not getting all those deals or new supply coming in the front end. And that's why these numbers are being held down. The market pulse, which I tell everyone to look at to see if the market is getting better or worse, that is rising. It continues to rise. Every week I check this, it's a little higher. So you got to use some caution in interpreting the market pulse. The market pulse is rising as a result of declining inventory. Okay. It's not really rising because demand's rising. It's rising because inventory is falling faster than the pace of demand is declining. So buyers, you have deals out there. You have a potential of good discounts. It's a dislocated market. It's a thinly traded market. I do not think you're going to get those discounts and those sellers to hit your bid like you did 2-3 weeks ago when there was a much higher level of fear and the stock market was at its lows. But we still are a dislocated market. There still are discounts to be had. The question is there inventory that suits your needs? Because there's a lot less options out there. And is that seller going to hit your bid of down 15 or 20%? That's the key of what's going on right now. That's what kind of defines a dislocated market. Not every seller is in that position when they're forced to sell. So as a buyer, you got to keep that in mind. Sellers, they know that this is a moment in time. A lot of sellers are choosing to bide their time. And they also probably look at $4, $5, $6 trillion of monetary and fiscal stimulus that's already been thrown at this and will continue to probably rise over time with more stimulus. And they think that down the road, there's probably an argument to be made that the asset prices of hard assets, real estate assets can rise with that stimulus inflationary wave that they're trying to push here to combat massive deflation that we're facing right now. So that's a really good question. Okay, so let's go to the dashboard now and do a quick check on what's going on in terms of open houses, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to go click on my open houses. And when I first started doing this, we had 1,671 open houses. Okay. 3 weeks ago, it was down to 264. 2 weeks ago, it was down to 53. Last week, it was down to 21. And that seems to be the low because this week, for whatever reason, we have 76. So I know that we're not having any showings order, but for whatever reason in the system, we have 76 open houses. I guess those are virtual open houses. I don't know how that's going to be done, but your guess is as good as mine in terms of that. Okay. So we're going to take this out now and we're going to do 1 week. I want to do 1 week active inventory. Okay. This is something I'm looking at to see whether or not the trends are starting to go in reverse for the first time. So let's just give you some historical references here. 3 weeks ago, when I did this 1 week check, there was 138 new active listings that came to market. 138 3 weeks ago. When I did it 2 weeks ago, there was 80 that came on. When I did it last week, there was 82 that came on. So how many listings came on this week? 70. So the pace of new listings coming on to the market is still declining. Okay, so that's something to keep an eye on. We usually see 2,000 listings come on the market in April. So if we saw 82 last week and we saw 70 this week, and we're averaging around 70 going through the next couple of weeks, we're going to see around 320 listings come on the market in the month of April, when usually we see around 2,000. Okay. What about contracts signed? How many contracts signed in the last week? Let's go check this number out. 70 listings came on the market. 65 listings went into contract. Let's give you some perspective. 3 weeks ago when I checked this out, it was 136. That was mostly residual contract deals that were in the process of getting done before the coronavirus really hit home. 2 weeks ago when I did this, it was 74. Last week when I did this, it was 88. I was actually quite happy with that number, 88. And now it's down to 65. So yeah, that's a very low number, to be expected. Deals are happening, but again, this is those dislocated deals where you got sellers hitting that bid, and we're trying to find out, where is that bid? Is it down 5%, 10%, 15%? And we don't know. Price discovery for deals signed today is going to take 3 to 5 months to really funnel through the system. Finally, let's look at off market and take a look at your weekly off market. When I did this 3 weeks ago, 424 listings came on the market. When I did it 2 weeks ago, 409 listings came off the market. When I did it last week, 270 listings came off the market. And when I look at it now, it's 197. So that's a good sign. So the pace of off market listings is going down. I think we're seeing some exhaustion in the pace of off market listings in Manhattan. So that's a very, very good sign. We want to see that go down. That tells us that sellers are, for the most part, getting a little bit more comfortable. The seller pool that's out there is who wants to sell, is my point. 3-4 weeks ago, the seller pool that was out there was not yet who wants to sell, because we've had around 1,000 listings come off the market since then. So we want to see this go down at a time when it usually is low. This is the active season. Usually supply is high. Usually contract signs high, and off market's low. That's usually what happens in this market. Right now in this seasonal marketplace, in the active season, we got supply down, we got pending sales and contract activity down, and we have off market up. So I'm looking for all of those things to start reversing course, so we have a sense of normalcy here. I will continue to do these updates every Friday until we get out of this. Until then, I wish everyone will be very, very, very safe out there. If you are doing showings for whatever reason, I don't know how you can, but if you're out there, just be careful, and we'll get through this sooner rather than later. Thank you guys so much. Happy holidays to you. I'll catch you next Friday. This is Noah Rosenblatt from Urban Digs, and have a good one. Bye-bye.